What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Peacock original series Twisted Metal Season 2. This will follow episode 10, which is called Mayhem, and is once again directed by Bertie Elwood. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, rest in peace, Vermin. For the most part, maybe rest in peace, Axel. I don't see him going, but we'll see what happens in the next two episodes. But yeah, this was a really fun, really entertaining episode. Yes, it has leaps of logic when it comes to the fact that everybody is against everyone, or they have to. It's like one of those white elephant type of things or Secret Santa, where you have a particular person you have to go after or get a gift. This time it's the person they have to kill. That is a fun scenario, but the thing I don't like, and the thing that's kind of weird, I guess it kind of worked for whatever it is, because you don't want to see Sweet Tooth killing everybody, is there's a trial for Sweet Tooth, Mike, Stu, and of course Mr. Grimm. It's a way for these characters to get to the end. Mike and Stu have to get back together. Mr. Grimm's got to lose all his souls, and Sweet Tooth's got to, be by himself again and have to deal with the fact that he lost Harold because Mr. Grimm burned Harold. I think that, putting him off to the side like that is a little bit of a waste of character, to be fairly honest. But as far as this episode goes, the race stuff, the lightning round, as Calypso says, was a lot of fun because, once again, like I said just a couple seconds ago, each individual character is given a target, and that target has to go after the specific target. So they're being chased by someone, and they're going to have to go after someone. And we see like Raven has to go after John, and Quiet has to go after Mayhem, and so on and so forth. Everybody has their own thing. And so we get to see this really cool use of the electricity. In a lot of respects, it comes from the little big balls and stuff. Big balls. No, it comes from those conductors that shoot out lightning, which is a really cool effect. I don't think it gets used very much to full effect outside of using Raven having her car be able to use that kind of energy and stuff like that, and then having it shock and kill Vermin. But once again, this is a way for us to reduce characters to get Quiet and John and Mayhem and possibly some other characters into the final race. And we see the death of Vermin in a funny way, because she's chasing after John. She's trying to kill John, and she's exploded by, of course, Raven. And Vermin finds herself on a windshield, which is pretty funny because it's like a play on the bug situation when you get bugs and you kill them with the windshield wipers. So every time she's getting hit with the windshield wipers, we see bug crap or whatever. It's pretty funny stuff. And then she, falls on the ground and dies and is electrocuted. So that's the end of Vermin. Thank God. I wasn't a huge Vermin fan, as you can tell. Someone said I was monotone, whatever. But yeah, Vermin sucks as a character, so I'm glad she's gone. But once again, we don't know if Axel's killed because he sacrifices himself to save Mayhem because Raven decides she's going to keep going, try to kill a bunch of other people, and so therefore Axel takes the brunt of the electricity that Raven shoots at him, and just kind of rolls off. So we're not entirely sure. I like the use of camera work on Axel, because you'll have Axel here and then it'll pull back really quick like a dolly shot, even though it's I'm sure it's digital work. It's interesting that Roadkill is copied, so so Quiet and John both have their own roadkill. That is, of course, a torment for both of them, because they decided to go and they want to connect their kind of wish, but this is how they get penalized as being two different vehicles, so one of them may not live. I know a lot of people think Quiet's going to die, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But once again, Quiet, John, we think Mayhem is killed because she collides into the wall, but she survives. Once again, Axel may be dead. Vermin may be dead. Raven, of course, is confronted at the end of the segment where she kind of confronts John and Quiet and stuff like that, and then Kelly is brought up, which really makes her mad. It's a lot of that, just kind of easing us in as we get closer and closer to the finale of the second season. But once again, the race stuff is cool. It's a lot of fun to watch. I love how Mayhem has to take out the cartridge of Quattro and blow on it to reset it because it starts talking Spanish. And Jimmy Simpson does a really nice job of Quattro, by the way. But once again, it's just another cool set piece for Twisted Metal. It's something that we've been long dying to see. We want to see cool kind of car combat, car manipulation. I love the fact, once again, two road kills and stuff like that, and it leads to just two people possibly dying, especially one's definitely dead, but at least us bringing us down to the final group of individuals. But it also leads us into the trial, which once again it feels very out of place, but is fun and entertaining because once again Stu is accused of cannibalism, which I thought was very funny because Stu had to defend himself when he finds out he's eating Frostbite's leg, and they show the bite marks. I gotta give a lot of praise to Mike Mitchell for having to put his mouth on a guy's butt. It's pretty funny, but they're trying to measure the diameter of the bite. It comes to the realization that Mike actually knew that Dave had kind of fallen back on his cannibalism because he found a finger under his pillow and stuff like that. But it causes everyone to believe that, of course, that Stu was telling the truth, and that Stu's not going to be killed for his, supposed cannibalism that he's accused of by, of course, Calypso. It is fun to see Calypso. It is fun to see Anthony Carrigan just have a good time as this over-the-top, wacky individual and just kind of use that to his full advantage. Anthony Carrigan has used that in, like, Superman and, of course, Barry. And he uses it here to full effect. And, of course, there's some underlining kind of evilness to him because he takes the souls of Mr. Grimm, which is funny because Stu and Mike can't see the souls being taken, but we can. And so they comment on that. They're like, I don't understand what's going on. And you find out, oh, well, they can't see that his souls are being taken, which leads into the interesting idea of like what is really magic, what is really not. Is the souls of Mr. Grimm really souls, or is it just his split personality that he loses? We'll see, but once again, he's under trial for the death of Harold, the paper bag that has given Sweet Tooth some good times with window rolling down because, something that Sweet Tooth does. And I really appreciate that kind of stuff. I think Harold is a good, interesting, fun character to lose because it's a paper bag. Even Mr. Grimm says it's a paper bag. And, Sweet Tooth is very saddened. They dump it down the drain, which is pretty funny. And then Stu decides, he's going to go off with Mike, and Sweet Tooth at first is not really happy about that. But Sweet Tooth, in his own demonic, psychotic way, lets Mike go, or lets Stu go. And he's like, I'm still going to kill you. And I think it's like the I'm Missing You, or the song by the Police or Sting or whatever. And he puts his own words to it. Sweet Tooth does. He just keeps saying Stu in every single verse, which is pretty funny, and it leads Stu to go off with Mike, because Mike is his best friend, but he still considers Sweet Tooth his father. There is some goofy nature to that. I love it. It's kind of funny, but it's entertaining or whatever. And it leads to the final portion of this episode where basically Mayhem leaves the bed because she's in the infirmary and whatever, and she goes down and she finds that there's a secret lair for Calypso, because of course there is. And there is something that Calypso is working on for the final race. And I'm not entirely sure which character it is. I have not watched the other 2 episodes as of this recording. I'll know in the next recording, so we'll see. But yeah, he's put something together that I'm assuming is going to be very dangerous. But Mayhem's out of the race, and she goes up to tell, of course, John and Quiet, and they are saying something about how they're going to have to leave Mayhem behind, which may be a mishearing, as it always is. And she runs out of the building into whatever future that she'll have in the next episode. So in essence, that's the episode of Mayhem. It's a lot of fun. It really is. There's some really fun moments between the cars and the combat, and Axel and all that stuff. And rest in peace, Vermin, for as much as I didn't like you. And on top of everything else, we get some interesting, I guess, trial stuff from Calypso. And it's kind of sad that Sweet Tooth and them couldn't be in the race, but they'll be in the next race. They'll be in the final race, which is convenient plotting, but it is what it is. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that'll be my take on season 2, episode 10 of Twisted Metal, which is called Mayhem. So I do appreciate you watching, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. So for my final score, I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. So there you go. So with that said, thank you so much for watching my review, my spoiler discussion for season 2, episode 10 of Twisted Metal, which is called Mayhem. I do appreciate it. In the comments below, what did you think of the actual episode, of Vermin dying, all that good stuff. So let me know why. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's going to be next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.